Okay, so then I start. You're really the kind of the hardest working audience in this conference. It's a Saturday afternoon and you're still here. That's really good. Okay, so my name is Thea and I work for the Creative Europe desk in Norway. And I will talk about the three elements that you see on this page. I will start a bit with Arts Council Norway, where I'm employed, because that tells a little bit about the cultural policy of Norway. And I will continue to talk a little bit about Creative Europe, but I will mainly focus on the EEA grants, because I think that is upcoming calls and it might be very interesting and relevant for you. Also, not only for the Lithuanians that are here in the audience, but maybe also my colleagues from the Creative Europe desks. And I must also say thank you, Eglė, for doing this round for us, because it's very, very interesting for us as desks. You know, we have like nearly 40 colleagues, and it's always interesting to see how differently we work. So this is very useful. Okay, I start up with a picture of Norway, and I should have situated this in Europe, but you know we're in the northwest coast of Europe. And you see that we have a very long coastline. It's quite a stretch to go from from the south to the north, and actually it is like this. If you go the other way around, if you go from the south up to the North Cape, it is the same distance as going from Oslo to middle of Italy. So this makes a picture of how diverse Norway is, and that also means diversity on the cultural scene. So I will not try to make a picture of that, but you see some highlights here. And we are also a quite tiny population, most of the inhabitants living in the south, and that means also that we have quite a variety of big institutions and a lot of small cultural operators as well. Yeah. Yes, as I said, I will concentrate on three topics. So I will start with the Arts Council in Norway, where I am employed. And the Norwegian model is kind of a mix between France and UK, because we have a strong Ministry of Culture with quite good public funding for institutions. And we also have a more or less autonomous Arts Council, like in the UK. And the Arts Council Norway, we work after the arm's length principle, which means that power is distributed to the Arts Council when it comes to allocating project funding to the free, how do you say, not the institutions, but all the free cultural players. A very strong element is that it is peer review and experts that evaluate all the applications, and through committees the funding is allocated. So it's quite a strong system of using experts in this. And here you see all my nice colleagues, and I must also say I have another colleague here, Per, wave, who is also working at the Creative Europe desk. So please also ask him some difficult questions, as he started just off 4 weeks ago. But anyway, then you know we're two of us here from Norway. So we're 120 colleagues, mainly in Oslo, but we also have 2 regional offices, one in Trondheim, and very soon we're opening up a regional office in Bodø, in the northern part of Norway. There's a lot of knowledge here, so if you want to know more about the cultural scene in Norway, please let me know and I will guide you forward to the people working here in all the different sectors. To say a little bit more about the cultural policy in Norway, there is the new or strong focus these days about creative industries, how to strengthen the creative industries, and also how to get more private funding into the cultural scene. So that is kind of 2 elements that we see very strongly these days from the government. So then I will move to Creative Europe. You see this photo is from one of the projects, Platform Shift. Oh, you don't see it. There it is. Yeah, there it is. So the Creative Europe desk, we are located in the Arts Council Norway. Not under the ministry, but we work directly under the ministry, but we are located in the Arts Council. So, although Norway is not a part of, or not a member of the EU, we take part in many programs, also in Creative Europe. So Norwegian actors can use all of the elements of Creative Europe. Also the capitals of culture. So this year, actually, Norway can apply to be a capital of culture for 2024. We have already had 2 capitals of culture, Stavanger and Bergen, but we're really looking forward to see how this can be in the next round. Yeah, as the quote says here, it is a really good opportunity for Norwegian actors to kind of take part in the European cultural scene. We're just doing an evaluation of how Creative Europe works in Norway, and this competence, knowledge is the main thing that Norwegian players report back on. And here you see all the partners from Norway. It's around 30 participants, so we are way back when we compare with Slovenia, but we think we have increased interest in taking part in Creative Europe, and we also think that we have a really high potential for going into more projects. You see up in the left corner there is a link to the project bank, and that will give you more information about who are taking part in Creative Europe from the Norwegian side. And also it's if you use our friend Google Translate, you can also see a little bit more about the projects and who are taking part from the rest of Europe as well. So I advise you to have a look at this place for more information about what we do in Creative Europe. I just wanted to mention also the platforms, as we have quite a good success in taking part as partners in the different platforms. It seems to be a very successful way of structuring the cultural scene in Europe. This is from Live Europe and the venue called Blå in Oslo. But anyway, when it comes to Creative Europe, please do contact us. My contact information is in the end. We can, of course, guide you to the different sectors that you will be interested in, or we will have our nice colleagues to help us with that. So now I will switch to the main topic that I will talk about, and that is the EEA grants. And the reason for this is that the new period is coming up. And you see from this slide that it doesn't look like it's a new period. It says 2014, but this is postponed, and that's always the thing about EEA grants. It's always postponed due to the need of agreements. And you see also that it's also called Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway grants. This is a new logo, but it's the same. It's EEA grants. So if you know that from before, it's the same. And the calls will be starting to come maybe at the end of this year or next year from 2019. And you can apply for projects until 2021, and the projects can last until 2023. So we're just on the threshold of the big or many possibilities for cultural cooperations within this. So just to say a little bit about the results from the Norwegian side in the last period, I will go a bit deeper into how this instrument works. But last period we had like 300 projects with Norwegian partners in the EEA grants. So this has had really a big influence on the Norwegian cultural scene. You saw that it was about 30 Creative Europe projects. So this is much more spreading around all over the country, from small projects to very big projects. Yes. We think I wanted to present this to you because I think EEA grants and Creative Europe, that's two possibilities that can work quite nicely together. I will talk a little bit about that later. So for you that haven't heard much about it before, what is it? I already mentioned the names of donators, Iceland, Liechtenstein and Norway. And the main purpose here is to reduce economic and social disparities in Europe, and also to strengthen bilateral relations between these countries and 15 countries in Central, Northern, Southern Europe. And why do we do this? This is not a very important thing for you to know, but I could just mention it, because it's, as non-EU members, we take part in EU's inner market. So EEA grants is our participation fee. Yeah. So here are the 15 countries. I don't know if you can see them. It's a little bit bleak, but you will have this presentation afterwards anyway. There is 15 countries taking part. The money for each country is allocated, and right now there is ongoing discussions on how the money will be spent in each country. And it's the countries themselves that decide which area they want to spend the money. So there are 5 priority sectors. And culture, as you see, the red pointing there, the culture is one of the 5 programs, but it's not in all of the countries. So that is up to the country to decide whether there is certain needs or if they want to prioritize culture. And culture in this sense is quite wide. It's culture, civil rights, or it's in the big umbrella with civil rights, good governance, fundamental rights and freedoms. Yeah. Then we go deeper into the culture part. There are 8 countries with full cultural programs. And as I said, the calls will be coming from 2019. There can be cooperation with Iceland, Norway or Liechtenstein, but not necessarily. It's not mandatory in all programs. That is up to, it's for decision now in all the agreements being made. But the very important thing is that the application has to be written from one of these 8 countries. So if Norway is taking part, it's not a Norwegian actor that can do the application. They can of course contribute a lot to the application, but it has to be written in one of these countries. Yes, and the cultural program is the last period of EEA grants showed like a big variety of types of projects. It can be in making productions together, workshops, seminars, building and shaping cultural entrepreneurship, and also cultural heritage is a part of this. But no, the Arts Council Norway is not like the contact point for cultural heritage. That would be the Directorate of Cultural Heritage in Norway. But anyway, we're under the same program and we cooperate very closely. Now I showed you the 8 countries that have the full cultural program, but I would also like to draw your attention to the bilateral funds, because in all of these 15 countries there is allocated 2% of the whole budget for the country is in the bilateral fund. And that means that any kind of project or any sector can apply to this bilateral fund. So be aware of this. This is a little bit hidden in the system, but there can be some money there. But here it's even more important that you kind of look to the bilateral dimension. There has to be a real cooperation with either Norway, Iceland or Liechtenstein. How is time going? It's okay? No? No. Okay. I wanted to show you some examples as well. So I'll just flip quite quickly through these. You get them. You get everything afterwards. This project is from Lithuania. There were quite a few projects with Norway and Lithuania. And this is from Rupert in in Vilnius, also involving Reykjavik Art Museum and the National Academy of Arts, National Academy of Arts in Oslo. And this is a Kaunas project. This is Aura Dance Theatre, working together with one of the best theatre groups, the dance theatres in Norway, Pantarei. So here two really good cultural players have found each other in this dance project, strongly focusing in audience development. I also wanted to mention another project which I actually have been involved in myself with the Lithuanian Open Air Museum here in KØRYBIŠKOS, right? Who built a Center for Cultural Heritage with a county in Norway. Very interesting project. So there has been going on quite a lot with Kaunas, and I think also you should look to the cooperation agreement with Vestfold county in Norway, which has been a strong cooperation between the county in Norway and Kaunas for a long time. So there should be friends to find there. Yes, how is this relevant for me? Yes, of course. Of course, it is a key to unlocking more funding. It's a chance to promote your projects in abroad in Norway, Iceland and Liechtenstein. It's also a way of reaching your communities within these countries. We have a big population in Lithuania from Norway these days. And as I said, if you have, do you have partners from Creative Europe that you want to work closer with? You can kind of use these grants. And EEA projects can of course develop further into a Creative Europe project as well. But be very careful about double funding, because that is not allowed. You would have to kind of define side projects if you really want to combine these two funding possibilities. But my main message for you is calls are coming. Be prepared. Start thinking now. What kind of projects would you like to do? I think it's exactly the time now to kind of contact the people that you would like to work with. And I would also like to say, because we see from the Norwegian side that we have many small actors, and it's quite hard to go into a project like this or to go into a Creative Europe project. But then I think you should consider who can you cooperate with as a small actor. If you're like an NGO mainly based in voluntary work, you should kind of make friends with an institution, an umbrella organization, and make a partnership on your national side, and then your excellent idea could have a future in EEA grants projects or in Creative Europe. So absolutely now you should start thinking of how to be prepared when the calls are coming. I'll just flip through these last ones, because I understand time has run out. So here is our website. We also have a Facebook website for both for Creative Europe and also for the EEA grants culture, which will give you a very good impression of things that are going on in all the different countries. And of course, please send me any emails or contact me or Per here in the break. We are more than happy to help you to find Norwegian partners. Thank you.